everyone. In previous lessons, we discussed the different types of sentences, and to better understand the second category, types of sentences based on their structure, we first explore their components, phrases, and clauses. If you haven't seen those videos yet, I recommend watching them before this one, which will focus on sentence types according to their structure. So let's start. We already covered the first category of classifying sentences based on their function. And we said then there is another approach to categorizing sentences based on their structure. But what is sentence structure? Sentence structure refers to how the components of a sentence are arranged. Those components like subject, predicate, objects, phrases, etc. It basically involves placing words and phrases next to the elements they modify and ensures the use of proper grammar. And we can refer also, when talking about sentence structure, to the combination of dependent and independent clauses. According to these combinations, we can create four different types of sentence structures. Number one, simple sentences. This type of sentences contains a subject and a verb, and maybe it includes objects and modifiers as well. However, it consists of only one independent clause. Examples: she arrived. She completed her literature review. He organized his sources by theme. They studied ABA rules for many hours. Simple sentences are the smallest grammatically correct complete sentences, and anything less than them considered as sentence fragments. The second type is the complex sentence. Complex sentences are different from simple sentences, but have some similarities with compound sentences. For example, both complex and compound sentences include two or more subjects and more than one verb, which distinguishes them from simple sentences. Accordingly, we define a sentence as a complex sentence when it consists of at least one independent clause plus at least one dependent clause. If the complex sentence begins with a dependent clause, it must be followed by a comma. And conversely, if it starts with an independent clause, no comma is needed in this case. Examples: number one, although she completed her literature review, she still needed to work on her methods section. And here we ought to put the comma after the dependent clause. Because he organized his sources by theme, it was easier for his readers to follow. As you may notice, the dependent clause comes first, so we need to put a comma after it. 3. They studied ABA rules for many hours as they were so interesting. Here, the independent clause comes first and no comma is needed. Complex sentences are required when we have a concentrated point and want to build upon it by adding more details. On the other hand, the dependent clauses used within them to clarify the meaning embedded in the independent clauses. For example, when we listen to this independent clause, you cannot leave the school, we feel like it is an infinite forbidden thing for us to leave the school. But when we add a proper dependent clause, we can get the real attention from it. You cannot leave the school until the bell rings. The expression ABA rules refers to the American Psychological Association style. It's a set of guidelines for writing and formatting research papers, primarily in the social sciences. Conditional sentences are also a type of complex sentences in which the truth of one clause depends on the truth of the other clause, mostly in an imaginary situation. But we will not include details about it in this lesson. Rather, we will explain it with details in another video. Look at this example. If you are always trying to be normal, you will never know how amazing you can be. This is said by Maya Angelou. Simple sentences versus complex sentences. A simple sentence consists of only one independent clause. In contrast, a complex sentence consists of two clauses or more. On the other hand, we can connect two simple sentences using a subordinating conjunctions, provided they are logically related in meaning. For example, we have here two independent clauses. Ali ate a giant cookie. He got a stomachache. We will conjoin them together. After Ali ate a giant cookie, comma, he got a stomachache. In terms of the most important rules for building complex sentences, we can say that the decisive factor regarded as the main key to constructing them correctly is the usage of the suitable subordinate conjunctions. And this is first. Second, we should recognize the order of the clauses that determines whether or not to put a comma after a clause. And we already explained that. The third type is the compound sentence. The main difference between a complex sentence and a compound sentence is that we use subordinating conjunctions to connect two clauses or more in the complex sentences, while we should use a coordinating conjunction in a compound sentence to join two or more clauses together. A compound sentence is used to combine two or more self-sufficient but related sentences into a single unified sentence. Two independent clauses can be joined by a comma, coordinating conjunction, or by a semicolon. A semicolon is used in case of the absence of the coordinating conjunction. Examples. Number one, she completed her literature review and created her reference list. Two, he organized his sources by theme and then updated his reference list. Three, they studied ABA rules for many hours, but they realized there was still much to learn. But look at example number four. Here we used a semicolon instead of the coordinating conjunction to connect the two independent clauses. I have a big iguana, full stop, his name is Fluffy, full stop, would become I have a big iguana, semicolon, his name is Fluffy. But according to example number five, I have a big iguana whose name is Fluffy, it's not regarded as a compound sentence. Because a sentence is only considered as a compound sentence when it consists of two or more independent clauses. Now we got rules for how we build up compound sentences. A compound sentence requires at least two subjects and two verbs. And if both independent clauses share the same subject, the subject must be stated twice for the sentence to be considered compound. But this is not always. Look at this example. I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the water to create many ripples. This is said by Mother Teresa. Rule number two, sentences with two subjects and one verb or with one subject and two verbs are not compound sentences. They are still simple sentences. Examples, Mona and I sing our duet tonight. Two, Mona sings and dances at the same time. In compound sentences, only the first letter of the first clause is capitalized. And even if you have two independent clauses, you shouldn't connect them unless they are related. Otherwise, they remain as two separate sentences. Examples, I couldn't sleep that night, but there would be breakfast at school tomorrow. This is grammatically incorrect. The correct compound sentence could be like, I couldn't sleep that night, but it was reassuring to know there would be breakfast at the school tomorrow. Compound sentences versus complex sentences. Both compound and complex sentences use two or more clauses in a single sentence. The most significant difference, however, is the type of clauses they use. Complex sentences use subordinating conjunctions to connect clauses, while compound sentences use coordinating conjunctions to combine clauses. Compound clauses are important since they connect related ideas. They could create a smoother flow and add variety to your writing. Because combining two independent clauses makes your writing more dynamic and engaging while maintaining clarity. The other thing is that compound sentences also break up the monotony of using simple sentences repeatedly. Now we conclude with the fourth type of sentences classified according to their structure, the compound complex sentences. And this one occurs when a single sentence has at least two independent clauses and at least one dependent clause. Examples, she completed her literature review, but she still needs to work on her methods section, even though she finished her methods course last semester. Here, the last clause is the dependent clause. Two, although he organized his sources by theme, He decided to arrange them chronologically and carefully followed the MEAL plan for the organization. This one started with a dependent clause that followed by a comma. 3. They studied ABA rules for many hours and they decided that writing in ABA made sense because it was clear, concise, and objective. This one ends with a dependent clause that begins with because. The privileges of using compound complex sentences are: first, using them in writing allows for more sentence variety. Second, paying close attention to comma usage in compound complex sentences is very important and a decisive factor to provide clarity and allow for more clauses addition in one sentence. Examples: after I got home from work, my friends invited me out and I left my apartment again. 2. After we finished our homework, I watched TV and my brother played video games and then we went to bed early. The acronym MEAL stands for Main Idea, Evidence, Analysis, and Link. These are common rules or measurements for building up a scientific, clear, and effective essay or research. Now we will watch a short video associated with its script, and you may gonna train yourself on what we have learned about sentences, types, fragments, clauses, and construction.
As Ramadan approaches, Amer and Alia discuss how they'll balance studying and fasting.
Hey Alia, as Ramadan approaches, I'm feeling a bit anxious about how we'll balance studying for our exams while fasting, especially since it can be tough to focus when we're hungry.
Totally gets it. However, I believe that if we plan our study sessions around iftar and suhoor, we can manage our time effectively, and we'll have the energy to concentrate.
That sounds like a solid idea. If we study after iftar, we can enjoy a good meal first, but I'm still worried about how we'll handle our workload during the day.
During the day, we could focus on lighter tasks, like reviewing our notes or doing some reading. This way, we won't exhaust ourselves, and we can still keep up with our studies.
I agree. Plus, if we take regular breaks, we'll stay refreshed and avoid burning out. It's all about finding that balance, right?
Exactly. And let's not forget to stay hydrated. We need to make sure we drink enough water after iftar and before suhoor, or we'll feel drained.
Good point. I also want to set aside time for prayers and reflection, since those moments can help us regain our focus and motivation.
Absolutely. If we dedicate time each day for spiritual practices, we'll not only enhance our studies but also enrich our Ramadan experience.
With this plan, I feel more hopeful about managing everything during the month. It sounds manageable, doesn't it?
Definitely. Let's support each other through this, and we can check in daily to see how we're both doing, so we stay on track.
That sounds great. Together, we can tackle the challenges of Ramadan and come out even stronger academically and spiritually.
With this, I have done my best to compile the most important information about sentences in English grammar, covering their constructions, types, and functions. I hope you found my lessons beneficial and feel more knowledgeable about this topic. See you later. Bye.